And so with that note, right, how if someone is like, yeah, maybe I'm having these problems, how can they start, or what are maybe some of the tips that they can start doing to help with that inflammation?
Yeah. So the first things you're doing is, where is this inflammation coming from? And a lot of times, sources of inflammation can be food. Processed food is a big source. Like, there's lots of good studies. If you have a Big Mac and check your inflammatory levels right away, super sky high. And we have a lot of patients who are wearing those continuous glucose monitors now. One of my patients said she ate like the In and Out French fry, which only has a few ingredients compared to the McDonald's French fry, and her blood sugar was super high. So processed food is a big one. So as much as you can, try and make sure your food is real and is clean, ideally organic. And if you are eating packaged food, make sure they're not like a list of zillion ingredients. Just try and keep it simple, as I'm sure that's your expertise on. So really trying to process foods. A second big source of inflammation is if you've had any kind of recent infection. So COVID is a big source of inflammation, or if you were traveling to like India or Mexico and had food poisoning, that's going to be a source of inflammation. And then another big source of inflammation is toxin exposure. So if you were exposed to toxins such as, the current LA fires, or you had silver fillings in your mouth and have a ton of mercury. In LA, we see a lot of mercury toxicity, mainly because of sushi. Like, my patients love sushi and they think it's really healthy, which it should be, but our oceans are not healthy. And if you don't detoxify, you can have high levels of mercury causing inflammation. And another source of toxins, which is again fairly common in LA, is mold. Like, we had a lot of rains 2 years ago, and they caused a lot of water damage, and mold can be a source of inflammation. So again, it's important to know how you process these toxins, and these could be obvious sources of inflammation that you need to look at. So in terms of practical things you can do, is watch your food, take enough fiber so you're binding these toxins and eliminating them naturally, and make sure you're not constipated. If you have access, go to a sauna, like someplace where you can sweat, like a sauna at the YMCA or at your gym. See if you could put some sort of sweating practice. It doesn't have to be for long, like 10, 15 minutes, to just open up these detox pathways. But the last thing about inflammation, which is the biggest source of inflammation, is chronic stress.